kids in my grammar school class was working at pools, or they became lifeguards, or they were working in snack shacks or something like that, and I was car obsessed. Always had a passion for things being clean, being organized, being neat. I graduated from college with a finance degree and could have done a lot of other things. But my heart always lied in working for myself. Being around cars and being up close and personal with them. I mean, when you get to play with cars like vintage Ferraris, it's never a bad day. Hey, good morning, guys. My name's Taylor Griffith, owner and founder of Bay Area Detail. Had the business for about 16 years, and today we are going to be doing a multi-step paint correction on this 1990 Ferrari 348, and we've kind of gone over the car in its dirty state, looked over each panel individually, have been able to kind of determine what's been original paint, if anything's been altered or repainted, any sort of damage to the vehicle, and so far everything is looking extremely original, unmolested, and at least from what I can tell, this might be the first sort of intensive detail that this car's had in at least a couple of years. So this should be a good one. Stay tuned, everybody. Alright, so as you can see, the car is completely sudsed down, or foamed up, as you might say. And this is the second piece of the washing procedure. So first, a good pressure washing to remove any of the stuck-on contaminants, dirt, bugs, debris, mud, tar, and then it gets foamed. It'll be rinsed again. It will be then re-foamed, and then a complete hand wash. After that, we will focus on the wheels and smaller nooks and crannies and crevices. The soap that we're using today is the Adams Car Shampoo, one of my personal favorites just because of the concentration level. So a little bit goes a very long way. Here we are in the garage. We're under our 5,000 lumen LED lights, where we can really kind of take a look at the quality of the paint and what we have to work with. So in my best guess, this is probably the first time that this car has actually had a proper two-step paint correction. Lots of kind of minor fading, hazing, swirl marks, and of course your famous at-home sap removal method with the backside of a green sponge that has left some pretty gnarly marks in the hood and a couple on the rear deck lid. So we're going to do one final inspection with a high intensity swirl finding light, and from there we're going to start with the compounding stage. Alright, so two facts. One, paint is responding extremely well to the compounding phase. Roughly 2 to 3 medium pressure passes, overlapping by about 50% each time, has lifted around 90 to 95% of all swirls and defects in the paint, which is fantastic. Not a whole lot of clear has to come off, and we'll be able to preserve this car for years to come. After the compounding stage, however, because the compound and the pad are so aggressive, there's a haze and kind of a grayish hue to the paint. And that is standard. That's always going to happen. So after we compound, that's why you have to follow up with a polish. The polish brings the clarity, the gloss, and the luster back to the paintwork that you will have lost after the compounding stage. So in any rather intensive detail, you're always going to end up finding stuff post-wash and pre-polishing and pre-compounding that you're going to have to deal with. One of those might be excess sap, remnants of bugs, something like that. So in this case, right at the base of the target top and the top of the roof, we have a sap stain. And a very common question about how to remove that, something I get all the time. And usually what you see people doing is taking the backside of their fingernail. I've seen driver's license and credit cards being used to try and scrape it. All of that is wrong, and that causes serious damage. And in the detail world is job security for me, because I get to come back and fix your mistake. But for the at-home DIY guy, this is the magic sauce, Goof Off, which is essentially 2 levels past Goo Gone in terms of strength. Think of this like a nail polish remover, an acetone, some sort of paint thinner. But this is actually mild enough where even on clear coated or single stage paint cars, this will not necessarily harm the finish. While it's always good to follow up with some sort of polish or a wax afterwards, it's not always necessary. But we're going to go ahead and try and get rid of that with a clean microfiber and a couple drops of the Goof Off. And as you can see, most of the mark is gone, but it did take and hurt some of the paint. So a coat of wax, a light polish, or a compound is necessary to kind of clean that back up.
Say something about that.
So here we go. A lot of detailing a vintage car, whether it be a Ferrari or something extremely basic. You never know what you're going to find. So in our case, front half of the car has clear coat, and here we are polishing the windshield frame. And as you can see on the pad, we have Ferrari Rosso Corso paint. So single stage up here. Stay tuned to see what else we find. So with the joys of technology, we've sped up about 7 hours of compounding. So we have completely worked the car from nose all the way back. About 90 to 95% of all the defects were removed. That remaining 5% is the stuff that is extremely deep in the clear. And I kind of consider myself a preservationist detailer, where you don't necessarily need to pursue absolute perfection while sacrificing the paint for future polishing work, detail work, and just the longevity of the car. Some interesting things. We started the car and didn't really know what was original and what wasn't. And after going through the entire detail, we actually were able to figure out that most of the car from the body line up has been repainted with clear coat, while most of the stuff below is all still the original single stage paint. Overall though, extremely pleased with the repaint. It was almost impossible to tell, and I honestly could not have told you what was repainted and what wasn't unless I was here detailing the vehicle today. So compounding is done. Our next step is now to go back over the vehicle with a foam pad versus the microfiber and a lighter grade polish. And what that polish is going to do is kind of remove the haze and the compounding marks that were installed in the vehicle while you're kind of going after those deeper marks. And that'll really kind of finalize the gloss and the clarity. And then from there, we're going to go through and do a light ceramic coating on the vehicle to really kind of seal in the work that we did today. I loved being able to take a task, whatever that job was, and go from start to finish and be able to have a tangible result at the end of it. Something where, you know, you can polish a car for 14 hours and then be able to take a step back and be proud of what you've done. And I really don't foresee myself doing anything else. As long as my body holds up to doing this, I think I'll be in good shape.